Hi heathens! So today's video is going to be another entry in my little declutter series, and I am going to be showing you all of the eyeshadow palettes. I think they're all just eyeshadow. One's an eyeshadow and face. We'll get to that. All the eyeshadow palettes that I am going to be decluttering, along with a few that are maybes, because I haven't used them enough to really decide if I want to declutter it, and I'd like to give them another shot. So right off the bat, the one that I got, I think the most recently out of all of these is going to be, unfortunately, the Lime Crime Venus 3. I got this in my Lime Crime mystery bag or mystery box, and I was just underwhelmed. I'm going to do swatches of some things in this video, and then they're going to be sanitized so that I can give them to friends or sell them. So this shade Beam was the one that in the palette I was the most excited for. It's just gorgeous, and on the finger and on the eye it's just a little underwhelming. I don't even know how well it's going to show up on camera because it's very sparsely pigmented. Also, in this video, or for this video, I mixed my Rimmel London Lasting 25-Hour Foundation that I love in the shade Ivory with that Too Faced Born This Way concealer for my foundation, and I'm really happy. I find that that foundation can read a little too dark once it starts to oxidize. Like, I can still get away with it, but also if I don't bring it down far enough, like, you can definitely tell. So I feel like this is going to be a good way to utilize that concealer without it being a much too light for me concealer. So next, we have another small palette. This is the Balm Auto Balm Pick Perf Shadows on the Go. I love this little tin. I think it's so stinking cute. The inside, it's not like there's anything wrong with it. I'm covering the mirror so you don't get blinded. It's just not something that I reach for often. It's got this really neat primer in it. I just don't reach for it a lot. It's only got 2 mattes, the rest are shimmers. I haven't reached for it since I tried it. Then we have 2 by the same brand. The Beauty Creations Seduce Me and Tease Me. So Seduce Me looks like this. Beautiful, but I have a lot of other palettes that have very similar stories. I don't find myself reaching for this one. And then Tease Me is this gorgeous neutral palette. But again, I don't find myself reaching for it, even though it's amazing neutrals. I have smaller neutral ones, or like my ColourPop Give It To Me Straight, that I find myself reaching for more than this one. So I want this to go to a home where they're going to use it more often. This one might be a little surprising because I was so excited when I got it, and I was so looking forward to using it so much. But this is the BH Cosmetics Take Me Back to Brazil palette. So there are 2 main reasons that I am unfortunately parting ways with this. The first reason being that the pans are just very, very small. The second reason being that the shadows in here that I would reach for the most in this palette specifically don't wow me the way that I thought they would. One being like this shimmery blue, looks good on the finger, but when you try to blend it out a bit, it just blends into nothing. And the other being this deeper, like almost navy blue. Again, they look fine swatched, and it's not like they're terrible. They just don't perform the way that I would want them to, and I'm not going to keep a 35 color palette for just a few shades. And I find that if I want yellows or greens or purples, I have other palettes that I'm going to reach for before this one, because I very, very rarely use all of those colors together. The next palette is unfortunate because I do love it. It is the Iconic Beauty Los Angeles Downtown palette. I've used this palette a lot. You can't really tell because I'm actually kind of light on using shadows. And it's got some gorgeous shades. I believe it is meant to be a dupe for one of the Huda Beauty palettes. But like this shade Angel, this performs more like the way that I expected the one in the Lime Crime palette to perform. I'll swatch it on my hand in a second. It's got this glitter in it, Fashion District, which is actually a really nice pressed glitter. And then this shade, which is LA Live. They're gorgeous. However, again, I just don't reach for it quite as much. But it was one that I definitely had a harder time agreeing to pass on, because it's a great palette. I just don't reach for it, and I want it to go to someone who's going to use it the way I did when I first got it. And now I have glitter all over my hand. So don't mind that as I go through. This one is an e.l.f. palette. It is the Hot Chocolate Eyes Spice palette. It is still in the packaging. I got it one day at Ross for $2.99. I mean, originally it's only a $10 palette, but even so. And I have not even opened it. So I'm getting rid of it because it's never been used, never been swatched, never been touched. And I don't see the point in trying it if I know that at this point I haven't reached for it, because then I'm just trying it for the sake of trying it. So then we have another very inexpensive palette. This is a Profusion Cosmetics Bold 9-shade multi-finish eyeshadow palette. I got it from Burke's Outlet also for $2.99. It's nice. Again, it's one that I just don't reach for. I have used it multiple times for work, particularly this like bronzy gold shade. Gorgeous. Just don't use it a lot. So, no reason to hold on to it. Then we have one that's going to blind you, so I'm sorry. It's the BH Cosmetics Glam Reflection Smoke Palette. I don't want to blind you. This is another one that I had kind of a hard time deciding on because, again, was really excited when I got it. It's gorgeous. It's nice, like, more cool tones. But again, since I got it, I've only used it once, maybe twice. But these two shades in particular, they don't have shade names, are the two that really, really catch my attention the most. But again, is it worth keeping a palette for 2 shades when someone else might use more in it? No, probably not. Then we have, which I have actually used a handful of times, the Pure Cosmetics, which I love their eyeshadow formulas, but this is the Midnight Masquerade Face Palette. This is the one I was saying that does have other products. But in the eyeshadow part, there is, again, only one matte. This palette is great. Their shadows smell like some kind of buttercream. It's really nice. If I was going to use a face palette, I'd want one with like blush or bronzer or highlight shades that I'm going to be more inclined to use. And I think that's the main appeal of this is, yes, it only has 6 eyeshadows, but it also has the face powders that I don't use. Another one is from the AOA Studio line from Shop Miss A, and it is the Immersed palette. It is one of the more colorful palettes. It's incredible. Their what's it called? The Vanity palette. It's the purple one. I'm keeping. Again, nothing wrong with the quality, especially considering I think these palettes are like $10. The quality is incredible. I just don't reach for this palette because if I want colors, there are palettes that I am going to reach for quicker. I have done a look using this palette, so if you're interested, you can find that and determine, you know, if that's something that you'd want to use. I also have a look using the Vanity one, which I do use much more often. This one is another one that I purchased and have never used. It is also by The Balm. It is called the Opposites Attract palette, and it is a collection of a bunch of their matte eyeshadows. It's a little cute little holder, and I was gonna see if they were magnetic, but it feels like they're just glued in there. But again, I've never used them, never swatched them, never touched them, so I want it to go to someone who will appreciate it a little bit more. And then the main one that I am still on the fence about, let me clean off my hand here. This is a Glam Light Cosmetics palette. It is the Miracle palette. It is a 12 eyeshadow palette and is mainly like pink tones, but these are stunning. I am not a big pink wearer, but just the undertones of some of these shades, and then of course you've got these gorgeous shimmers. Like, look at that. You've got some more like less glittery shimmers, and then some really stunning mattes. So I'm going to swatch these. When is it just... So they're beautiful, but again, it's something that I don't reach for. And the only reason that I'm hesitant is because I know that I mainly don't reach for it because unless I'm intentionally doing a pink look, I don't tend to wear more pinky toned eyeshadows on the regular. However, if I did need or want a really nice pink, do I want to get rid of this? So that's the one that I'm really on the fence about because it's so nice. But yeah, otherwise, these are the ones that I have definitively decided that I am going to unfortunately part ways with and pass on to a home that will be able to love them a little bit more often than I will. None of them are bad. There are some that are a little stronger in pigmentation, some that are a little higher quality, but none of them are super poor quality. I think the ones that you would have to work with the most, oh my gosh, there's like a cat hair on the side of my nose and it's driving me nuts. The ones that you would have to work with the most are the Beauty Creations palettes, but good God. This one is actually one that I gave like a second try, and I'm gonna swatch some of these to show you because again, they're not bad. Just some of them, once you start blending, need to be built up a little bit more, or they're colors that fade a bit as you blend them out, but they're not unpigmented, if that makes sense. Whereas some of the others in here, like The Balm, sometimes they can be a bit too pigmented, and if you're not careful, you have to do a lot of blending just to get to a normal level of pigmentation on your eye. So those are my decluttered shadow palettes. let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know if you'd like to see kind of what I'm keeping. That might have to be multiple videos. Yeah, and let me know your thoughts. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Subscribe to see more of my content. Let me know if you've tried any of these and if you really enjoy it, if it's something that you would keep. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!